My YouTube channel, Success, Hope, and Encouragement. This is video number 5. This one's titled Diet and Success. So if some of you may have listened to some of my other videos, I talk about certain success traits, and I've been a salesman for most of my life, and I talked a lot in the previous ones about things that we can do to get better, whether it's controlling your anger or exercising. And in my world, at least, nothing changes my mind than how I eat, and how I eat affects a lot of different things. So I'm going to share with you some of my thoughts and some of the so-called secrets and tips that I picked up over the years to think about dieting and thinking about getting better. So I mentioned in a previous video, one of the secrets I think of life is understanding the pain-pleasure principle. And to me, nothing fits into that category more than diet. It's sometimes very painful to eat properly, and sometimes it's very pleasurable to overeat and eat ice cream, and we all do things like that for various different reasons. But at the end of the day, to really achieve success, there has to be just a little bit of pain involved. But I think, much like I've said in my exercise video, if you can get to the point in our diet where the pain almost turns into pleasure, if you start seeing the results, if you start looking better and feeling better and sleeping better, all of a sudden too much ice cream seems a little painful instead of something very pleasurable. And maybe eating smaller portions feels pleasurable. That's how we can start achieving success and getting the benefits out of diet. The other thing I wanted to throw in that I've learned in my own, I guess, physiological setup. When I was younger, I couldn't gain weight. I used to eat protein shakes and eat all I could, and I couldn't gain weight. Well, for you college grads out there who I'm directing this video towards, that's probably going to change. I'm 55 now, and it's not quite where I look at a piece of cake and I add 3 pounds, but I really noticed over the last 10 years I don't have to eat as much. When I eat a little bit too much, it sticks around, and metabolism changes, so that's something we have to be aware of. So you need to adopt good habits as a young person, so that when you do get older and the pounds start coming on, you have some good defenses put into play to fight those off. I also like to put diet into a category that I've said in a lot of my speeches, and I say in my book, that there's certain things in life we can control, and there's certain things we can't control. And I may actually do a video on that subject. But when we think about diet, we can actually control what we put into our mouth for the most part, at least here in the United States. So I think that's important to understand, that you do have the power, you do have the control not to do something. One of the tricks is, fixing the mind so you don't break through those barriers. Much like my book says, a little bit over a long period of time, if you start instituting this where you have just a little bit of pain over a long period, you can achieve the results you want to achieve. So another thing I like to throw, I like to say, for the most part, the way we are wired in this world, the way God designed us, that if you really want something good, I have it's called the hard theory, or the 100% theory, that almost everything in life that you want great results from, it's difficult or it's hard. And it's very hard in the beginning to have a good diet. It's very hard to keep self-control. But, if we can start thinking about it and be conscious about it, it actually can become easy over time, particularly when you start achieving some of the results. But, the title of my book was A Little Bit Over a Long Period of Time. And the secret of that is that we can only handle so much hardness or so much pain at one time. And if we kill ourselves too much, then we're going to fall off the wagon. Then we're going to quit trying to be good. But it's just those little teeny efforts that some might consider hard that added up over a long period of time is kind of the secret of life, of how most of us can overcome those urges to eat wrong and do other things in life. So I'm going to share with you some things that have motivated me over the years. This isn't really in a great order, but I'm going to start with weighing yourself. You need to know where you are. What is your weight and what is your fat content? Some of us need to go get tested because we might be over the limit, and we need to get a doctor involved. But in my particular case, I've had a Fitbit scale for 4 or 5 years now, and it's kind of interesting that I weigh myself every day, and through Wi-Fi it sends it to my iPhone, and I can track my weight over the last 4 years on a daily basis. And for me, that's very motivating because, I see my progress, I see where I'm at, and as I may have mentioned in a previous video, I've jogged 5 days a week for close to 37 years now, and my weight really hasn't fluctuated that much other than it's slightly gone up over the last 20 or 30 years. But from a week to week or a month to month, I've been very fortunate with my lifestyle that my weight's fairly constant, even though I will admit I'm trying to lose 10 pounds, and I've been trying to lose 10 pounds for 20 years, and it's hard, and that's kind of the point. So I don't care if you have to lose 200 pounds or 10 pounds. To some degree, I think it's all relative, because the last 10 pounds or so-called that I'm trying to lose is just as hard as the person who's way overweight needs to lose 200 pounds. So I'm with you. I feel you, and I think I've got some things that can help you. And if you missed my exercise video, please go back and watch it, because I've got some 10-minute challenges and some tips in there that you might be able to develop the habit of exercise, which of course ties into the diet part very much. The other thing that I think can be motivating, in particular, we're ending 2017. We have resolutions coming up of 2018, and I have always used beginning of the year as a big motivator. It's a hard stop at 2017. We've got a, as we say in the golf world, the old 9 is over. We got a new 9, a new life. Let's just think positive, and let's make 2018 a great year. So, couple things I'd like to suggest for you if you haven't done it already. If most of the world has Netflix, and 2 movies on there have been very influential in my diet world. First one I saw, and I'm not a vegetarian, but I try not to eat very much meat, and I try to be somewhat of a vegetarian, is Forks Over Knives. I think this is a great scientific movie where it will kind of prove where man wasn't designed to eat too much meat, and how some people who had debilitating problems actually fixed all their problems without medicine, just going to a plant-based diet. The other movie, which I've just seen recently, which has been out a few years, which it's very hard the way I'm wired to watch a movie twice, but I actually got my wife down to watch it, and I watched it the second time, is I believe it's called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. An Australian man who was overweight, just at that point in life where he said enough is enough, and he was going to go on a juice diet. He chronicled it and came to America and sort of started a revolution of juicing, and a very good way to start your body and get to a healthy attitude. But I've really found that movie enjoyable, very easy to watch, and it also motivates your mind to start thinking about eating better. And I believe there's a Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead 2, which I watched as well, where they chronicled some of the people and their success stories and their failures and their desire to become healthier. So that's 2 easy ways if you want to motivate yourself and kind of get on this train of plant-based diets and juicing. I think that would be very motivating for a lot of us out there. The other thing that I have implemented into my life, which I think anybody can do, is NutriBullet. Probably for the last 3 years, in one of my first videos I talked about building a habit. Well, I've built a habit of, for breakfast almost every single day, 99% of the time, I have a NutriBullet. And my NutriBullet was, I think, the man's recipe in there, which was spinach and bananas and almonds and flaxseed and blueberries. And that's all I've had for breakfast the last 3 years, and it's kick-started my day, and it's a very good way to build a habit of something that's incredibly healthy, and it made me lose weight, made me feel better, but it's an incredible device if you look into the NutriBullet of how it pulverizes it and puts all your vegetables in your nuts and makes it in a tasty little drink. So I put in my book 12 years ago when I wrote it, a diet that I stumbled across, and I think I even heard Oprah mention this, and I will joke that I was doing this before I even heard she was doing it, and I call this the 7 o'clock diet. Much like all of us, we try to eat good for a while, and you almost get to the point where you have so much pain, you say, heck with this, I'm going to go get a burger, and then you fall off the wagon and bad things happen. Well, I found out many years ago that if I eat reasonably well during the day, and I just stop eating at 7 o'clock at night, and this was what fit my schedule. And I usually go to bed somewhere between 10 and 11 o'clock at night. But if I stopped eating dinner, nothing else goes in the mouth at 7 o'clock, the weight just started shedding off, and I would sleep better and feel better. So I think a lot of us, we eat late into the night. You know, we have that moment where you're watching TV, and before you know it, you've had 2 bowls of cereal and a bowl of ice cream, and you start nibbling on all this stuff, and then you go to bed. And I have such a high metabolism, if I don't eat good at night, I just perspire all night, and I don't eat good, or I don't feel good, and I have indigestion. But for me, the 7 o'clock diet is almost kind of like a miracle. Now, when I talk about the pain-pleasure principle in the 7 o'clock diet, I will admit it takes a little bit of fortitude to say, hey, I'm done. And if someone else is eating snacks around you, to say, I'm not going to do it. But, you know, it's only 3 or 4 hours. So I like to view it as, if we're going to view this as pain, I can handle that. And also, I like to throw in one of those faith deals. If you can believe me that I'm saying this really works and it can change your life, try the 7 o'clock diet. Eat normal during the day, but when 7 o'clock comes, you're done. 0, nothing except water. It will be a great way to a little bit of a long period of time. You're just having a little bit of pain. But if you can do this for a week or 2, trust me, I think you'll see immediate results without having the huge word diet put over your head, because diets do not work, in my opinion. The other thing I like to throw in there is, particularly when I talk about the 7 o'clock diet, for the most part, I'm just really, really good Monday through Friday. And I think it's important not to go overboard, but reward yourself a bit on the weekend. I won't say take time off from eating well, but you know, if you want a bowl of ice cream, that's okay. But once Sunday night comes, 7 o'clock diet starts, and you're back on it, and you'll see the pounds fall off, but most importantly, you'll feel better, you'll be more motivated, and hopefully you'll be more successful. Now, I spoke in one of my previous videos about my exercise and the habit of exercise and how I've been doing it for so many years. And I think it's a twofold message I want to get across here. Most of us know that if you're healthy enough, diet and exercise is the key. But I'm really here to say exercise in my world motivates me to eat better. And then when I eat better, it actually motivates me to exercise because I feel better. So it's kind of goes hand in hand. And I think if you can just drop a few pounds, and if you can do that 10-minute challenge that I spoke about in my exercise video, for those of you who always failed at a diet, you will start seeing immediate results. I'll end this even by throwing in a touchy category. Now it's alcohol. I wrote in my book many years ago, I avoid hard alcohol. It doesn't fit with my personality. I turned into the Tasmanian devil, as I used to say, and I was able to quit that. I enjoy a few beers with the boys at the golf club now and then, but you know, I think like anything in life, you have to have this in moderation. So if you want to practice the 7 o'clock diet with alcohol, go 5 days a week without having anything, and then have a few drinks on the weekend. I guess I'm here with alcohol. I'll share a little epiphany that I had when I was younger, high school, college, when you shouldn't have been drinking. I was very insecure, and alcohol was a big crutch for me. And you know, you think it makes you more outgoing, probably turns you more into an idiot, but at least got me out of my shell. And as time went on, I kind of found that alcohol made me less confident, even though I thought it made me more confident. So that was a huge epiphany. But that ties into my diet, I guess, because even though alcohol's not a diet, it's a big part of a lot of people's lives. So I think we need to discuss how to use it. And if you tie it into your diet, please practice what my book says is a little bit over a long period of time. So that's pretty much it on the diet front. Next week, which will start the new year, I'm going to hit you with one of the most important videos of my life, and that's my faith and my journey of how God and faith and Jesus changed me. And some of it's going to be a little more than you want to hear, but I think it can help a lot of you as we're all trying to find the ingredients for success. So please like my page, please subscribe, and please share this with any millennial out there that you think needs it. So we'll see you next time. Thanks.